Welcome to the Health Buzz podcast with Dr. Cindy Ross. Here we explore practical, integrative wellness solutions for the mind, body, and soul, drawing from natural medicine to inspire vibrant health. For more insights, visit lifewellnessforever.com. Please note, this discussion is for educational purposes only, is not intended to diagnose or treat any condition, and should not replace consultation with your physician.
Hey guys, it's Cindy with the Health Buzz podcast, and I have my beautiful co-host Amanda Sellers, and
Hello.
it's January, so why not have the infamous Shane Hale on to talk about dry January?
There you go. There you go. Shane's being a dull boy here lately. No drinking, no processed food.
I love it. I love seeing your post. So you did a post that you tagged me in yesterday about the supplements. I never go. Was that at Costco?
Oh, the Costco, yeah. Yeah, the wall of prevention, I call it.
Do they always have that wall up, or is it just
No, it varies. It's seasonal, but usually the supplements are tucked away by the pharmacy in that area. But they may do it more than once a year, but you can count on in January when everybody's trying to get healthy, they're going to have the whole wall when you walk in. It's just bottle after bottle after bottle of supplements, which are great if you know what you need. But how do you know what you need?
That's
And
right.
how do you know what's
Yeah.
wrong and on and on? So it's I mean, I don't know, supplement roulette. Just pick a bottle based on what the label says it might do, might help with this, might help with that. So, yeah, I get all kind of inspiration from Costco. I can walk in the store and there's just always something to take a picture of or multiple pictures of and little
I have
explanation.
never been
People love
in
it,
a
man. People lick it
Costco.
up.
I need to go visit a Costco. I've never
Never been to
been to one.
Costco?
No, so
Lord,
no, when we moved away from Mobile, Costco was being built. And then I was like, what's the point of having a membership if I don't live there? So I've never been in one.
well, you should come to Mobile one day. Me and you will go to Costco. We'll just walk through doing videos and we'll make it an afternoon.
Let's do
I'll
it.
come videotape y'all.
We'll
Be
have a
fun.
Costco date. I like it.
It'll be fun. It'll be
I
hilarious.
like it. We'll be like, what is this that they're selling?
Look like special shirts made or something, you know?
I love it. We'll do a grocery store tour in Costco. I like
Yeah,
it.
be
I
good.
like
Be
it. It's a
good.
date. It's a next show.
Let me know. Give me a little bit of notice. It's on.
I love it. All right, Shane. So I was telling Amanda that I always like having you on because this is a conversation that you and I go back and forth, and it seems like I feel like I'm always one step behind you because you're always kind of jumping into something. I mean, between the carnivore and the ice baths, and then now I feel like I'm finally ahead of you with the whole dry January
Yeah,
because
you got me about a year, I think.
yeah, I just decided to stick with it.
Yeah.
I decided that it wasn't just the 30 days for me. That's what I set out for. Well, actually, I kind of set out to do the 75 hard, and then it just became a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Tell
Well, I
me,
only made it 73 days. You made it 75. I
it
pulled
counts.
day 73. Like I've done what I'm doing. There's no band waiting for me at the finish line. I'm done. It's like I quit. But you mentioned something before I forget about it. You mentioned 30 days, and I had thought of something a couple of days ago. Just kind of this thing. My mind never stops. It's just it's a very unorganized mess up there. But you do a 30-day. I mean, I've done more 30-day things than I can think of. Just I can do whatever for 30 days. And people are talking about doing whole 30 in our office. Whole 30 again. Okay, that's great. But any 30-day whatever you do, if you do it consistently and you stick to it, what you really have at the end of that 30 days is the snapshot of what you could be if you would just keep on doing it. So
Mhm.
people do 30 days and they check their little box, and within no time at all, they're right back where they started. So what's the point of even doing it? Except to show that you can, and except to give yourself an idea of what you would be like if you kept doing what you really know you ought to do to begin with. And when I finished 75 hard, I think I went from 220 to 195, which I didn't need to lose a ton of weight. I need to lose some body fat, but there were a whole lot of positives in there that I won't bore you with. But I stuck to my diet pretty good for a while. I pretty much quit working out. My joints needed a break anyway because I've been doing 90 minutes a day. Um, Within probably 5 months, I was right back where I started, right back at 215, 218, somewhere in there. I didn't really start drinking much. I've never had a problem with alcohol. I've drank too much a couple of times and I quit. But the point is, within short order, I was right back where I started. So what's the point? So that's going to hit me last week of doing these 30-day things we do. you get to look at what you could be doing. So keep doing them. Keep doing
It,
them. And it's
and it
not
takes
easy.
21 days to create that habit. So you're just getting started. When I decided to jump off into it, it was December 1st of 2023. I literally was just like, okay, I need to check myself. I need to slow down. I need to just kind of cut back. And I set out with 30 days and then I decided to do 75. But when I kind of started diving deep into it, I was still feeling the fog a little bit that I didn't even realize that I had because it was just normality. But then when you pull away from drinking, you start noticing like, okay, I'm a little bit clear. I'm a little bit clear. And then it takes 90 days to fully get those toxins out of your system.
Really, what to wear
So,
that.
so 30 days is just scratching the surface. If you really want to improve your health in your life, and again, we're looking at a carcinogen, right, that we're putting in our body. So, and I don't know, Amanda, I don't know if you've seen it or not. And Amanda, you're not a drinker. You and I talk, you've never really been a drinker. It's not part of your life.
Yeah, I'm not. Well, I did when I was in law school and, working initially coming out of law school, I drank more than I ever did. But certainly once I had Kennedy, it just became non-essential. And I think the longer that I go without drinking, the less I even think about it. So it's not that I'm sober. I just don't
It's
drink.
not part of your life.
Occasionally, I will have a cocktail or a glass of wine or champagne, but it's not something that I seek out for sure.
You had a good point. You say sober. People initially, my wife brought this to my attention. She's like, Shane, when you make posts about being sober for so many days, people think you have a drinking problem. I'm like,
Right.
true,
I get
but
that a lot.
and that's the first thing popped in people's minds. It's like, okay, well, you must have a problem if you're sober. No, I'm just not drinking. And there's really there's people that don't drink at all. There's people that drink way too much, and there's a lot of people. I think most people just in the middle.
That's
That's
right.
not really impacting their life negatively, but it's sure not helping it either.
I
So
get that all the time. Like that's why I just started doing like alcohol free instead because alcohol free seems to, I don't know, people look at it a little bit different than saying sober. It's the same thing. It's just I just chose to better my life, and I don't look I think I had a patient yesterday and I'm asking them, I'm like, how much do you drink? And Jason and I, when you go to the doctor and they say, how many drinks per week do you have? We used to just write, we live at the beach. Because it was like we dreaded that question. And, I had a patient yesterday and I asked that and I'm like, look, I am the least judgy person ever. Like, it was nothing for us me probably more so than Jason, but two bottles, it was easy. It was just like drinking
Right.
water at night in front of the TV. It just
mhm.
became such a bad habit. And so, when I chose to go alcohol free, it was my personal journey. It wasn't about, people say, oh, I didn't know you had a drinking problem. And I'm like, probably to the general public, I didn't, but to myself, I did because
That's a good way to put it.
textbook wise, if you're drinking more than 5 drinks a week, you have a drinking problem. That's what the textbook says. And so, I would always be like, oh, I wake up and I feel fine and I'm not foggy and I'm not this. And so I validated it. And then living at the beach, and Amanda knows this, it's just normality, right? Like it's so accepted. So I love dry January now. I didn't used to like it. I kind of always dismissed it because I didn't want to make that change. But I love it being in my second year. You're right, Amanda. Like, I don't even think about it. Like, it's like you chose not to even have it in your life. And I'm just like, once I hit that 1 year mark, I literally, somebody told me they were like, it will get better and better after the year. And I don't even think about it. Like, it's not even a thing.
You can't break your streak now. Who wants to
Yeah.
start up for a year, right?
Yeah, I'm just like it's just not it. And when I decided to take on oncology, and I told this to Jason a couple days ago, I was like, when I decided to take on oncology, there is so many facets of it that there is no way possible at the level that I'm doing it at, practicing at it, that you could even be foggy and have alcohol in your life. Like there is no way because you have to be on 24/7. Like there is no brain fog. There's no room for it at all in my life. And so, yeah, I'm really happy with my choice to do that. And, you know, I see all the posts about dry January and someone going through it personally. I hope that a lot of people make that step this year because I am seeing so many studies about how alcohol is really just driven. Well, alcohol really is one of the main drivers. It's like the second driver of cancer. So I just hope that people start being more aware of it, and I don't know, maybe
I'm noticing it more. I'm seeing more stuff about it in print and on social media, and people seem to be kind of waking up. Well, alcohol lately, and even before that a little bit, people think people are waking up to how messed up our food supply is. I mean, that's becoming more and more obvious. So I think maybe alcohol is right behind it. So who knows where
It
we'll be
is.
in
It's right
5
there.
years.
It's right there with it, Shane. I mean, all the studies that I'm seeing, it is right there with it.
Well, the
And
government's looking at placing warning labels on alcohol now that it may cause cancer. So, we're getting closer and closer. I mean, I don't know how much that does for the general population because we all know that alcohol is bad for us, just like cigarettes, right? But the fact that the government's actually going to possibly require that label on all alcohol products is a
Yeah.
step forward.
Think about
yeah,
how 10 years ago, how ingrained smoking, well, not 10, more than 10 years ago, I guess 20, but look at where we've come from 20 years ago with smoking. I mean, people still smoke, but not nearly like they used to.
and
And
and I was thinking about this too, because like if they were to put warning labels on, that means that they're going to probably start restricting commercials on it because if you think about how many commercials there are on it, and I noticed that when I was stopping drinking, I never missed it, right? I never missed like the fun that I had with it never amounted to how I felt afterwards. Like it just wasn't worth it. But the only time that I ever really thought about it was when I was watching TV because somebody's always pouring a glass of wine or they're always having cocktails and it's like
Mhm.
it was like so ingrained and it's just again it's validated because it's like part of our lifestyle. And that's the only time I really thought about it. So I wonder how that will go if they do start putting labels on it, like will they put some type of control on commercials and the way that it's eh, again okay to do?
I don't know. I don't know. We
time will
shall.
tell. Time will tell.
So
Yeah.
Shane, I know that you and Cindy know each other, but I don't know anything about you. So tell us a little bit about your background.
Well, elevator pitch.
Hey, hey, wait, wait,
Condensed
wait, wait. I
version.
didn't know that you were a freaking TV star until I saw your post the other day.
That's being generous. Um, no, I grew up in Lucedale, Mississippi, which is right across state lines from Mobile. And we grew up going to Mobile, want to go like to town, to the mall or whatever. And then I went to school in South Alabama, played baseball there for 4 years, signed with the Orioles.
What years were you there?
86. I graduated high school in
Okay.
86, which is like, I don't know, 100 years ago, I think. It's been a minute, but we graduated 86 and went to South for 4 years. In 1990, I was a seventh round pick by the Orioles. I was a left-handed pitcher. Spent
Nice.
seasons in the Orioles organization. Wrapped that up at 28, I think, somewhere in there, and moved back to Mobile. Got a job. Met my wife there a couple of years later, and 20 some odd years later, I'm here. I spent about 10 years in the technology industry. I was in sales, not technical. I just was in sales, and then transitioned to real estate back in '07, and I've been doing that ever since. I'm 56, turned 56 a few weeks ago, and around my around my late 30s, I won't say my life imploded because it didn't, but my wife's back in school getting her master's, which turned into a doctorate. And we just went through a tough time financially, and I was kind of lost after baseball. Just had this big passion for what I did. It consumed me, and then all of a sudden, okay, well, I'll just turn that passion into the workforce and go be successful. And had a few pretty good years, and just as time went by, I was just empty inside. And at 45 or six, somewhere in there, I got saved, gave my life to Christ. I grew up in church. It wasn't like I didn't know who God was. But I'd kind of lost confidence in myself and confidence and faith in the world. And I'm like, another promotion or a new title or a new hobby is not going to fix me. I need something that's more meaningful than this world has to offer. I started writing, and that was about 10 years ago. And I've really just kind of write about what God's doing in my life primarily, and I wrap a bunch of interesting stuff around that on Facebook to keep people entertained. And so when I put something faith-based out there, they read it. And I'm really into health and fitness. I'm not a big lifter. I got a slip disc in my back that's really slowed me down, but diet is really interesting to me. The body's interesting to me. The mind is interesting to me. And at 56, I'm trying to do everything I can to give myself a chance at not being some decrepit old man down the road. So a lot of what Cindy does is really interesting to me. That's kind of how I got hooked. I don't say hooked up with Cindy, but she hit my radar years ago. She had what was your little spot you had behind Mosley's Meat Market in Mobile?
Yeah, so
By
Bodies by
Cindy or something?
Cindy. Yeah, Bodies by Cindy.
And she had this cute little caricature on the card. And I was like, hey, she's hot. Who is this? And so that's when she hit my radar. I was like, it was Cindy. So that's the first memory I have of just of her, who actually the name. And then social media came along after that, and we start connecting with people that we know from their past, but also people that are circles in the town we live in. So I just would see the stuff she was posting. It was interesting, so I kind of started following her, and I guess our Facebook friendship evolved from there. But I'm married, got 3 kids, 15, 19, 22. That's the short version on me.
Wait,
So,
and talk about your claim to fame. I gotta rewatch the movie now.
oh, the movie. Well, I was in I had elbow reconstruction my 3rd year of pro ball. So the way the timing worked out, I spent the entire next summer in Sarasota, Florida, at the rehab facility, not rehab, the spring training facility, rehabbing my new elbow.
Near
So when the
me.
season was over, they were filming Major League Two, the second movie in Baltimore. Well, I played for the Orioles, so they were trying to find extras to fill baseball uniforms that looked and moved like baseball players. Well, what's the best place to look? Call the Orioles up. Who's going to be in Baltimore in town? Excuse me. And so I ended up getting a spot in the movie, and I was on set for 3 months almost. I'm on the Indians team. I'm number 17. Last name's O'Connor. I hadn't got a beard, but I got long hair and never wear a hat. What's kind of the funny part of it is this. Why don't you put a hat on, Shane? I'm like, no, I'm not covering my mullet up for one. But second of all, who's the easiest guy on a baseball team to find? The guy that got a hat on.
I love it.
It was just sheer luck I got into it, but it was a lot of fun. It was a blast.
I had
Did you
no
ever think about
idea.
doing more of that?
What's that?
Did you ever think about doing more of that, more acting or?
No, I'd love to. I'm actually an introvert by nature, believe it or not. But I've always enjoyed movie making, and I've always had an interest in that. But I've never been in anything else. It just happened to be great timing. And I look back on it now, these years later, I'm like, I can't believe that happened. That's just hilarious that I got not just a movie, but one that's so popular that became kind of I won't say a cult classic, but I mean it kind of is. So it was
I gotta
it was a lot
rewatch
of
it.
fun. I really enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it in so many years. I gotta rewatch it now. I'm like, I saw it. And I was like, Jason, did you know? He's like, yeah, I saw that post. I guess you posted it before. And I was like, I had no idea that Shane was in this.
Yeah, I'll throw photos of it out there from time to time because my Facebook following has really increased in the last year, and I mean it's not huge. I've got like I don't know 17,000 followers, I guess somewhere in there. But I keep adding many people, so I'll just throw that stuff out there occasionally because it kind of keeps people looking. And again, I wouldn't even really be on Facebook honestly, but my primary goal is I get to share my faith through my writing. I get to remind people I sell real estate for a living. And if that's all you post, then you're going to lose people. So if you post things like dogs and kids and sunsets and little laugh at yourself every now and then, people like the cooking stuff I post. You get just post the stuff you do that's interesting. People will follow you.
Shane,
And
where'd you get your tagline at? I love your tagline. So it's nose to toes.
yeah, nose to toes. That's my dad. I think my 3rd year at South, I was pitching one day. My dad's one of these guys that he would come to the ball game to watch me play. And if I got pulled as a pitcher, like before I got to the dugout, Dad was gone. He's in the parking lot. He's out here, which was fine. He was not a spectator, and I was not a spectator. I quit playing ball. I was just done. So I'm out there one day, and I guess I can't remember the game or whatnot, but I wasn't having a good outing, which that by itself wasn't a problem. But apparently I won't say I quit, but my body language wasn't where it's supposed to be. And so my dad's a big guy. He was like 6'4", 240, just a big man. I got his frame, but I didn't get his muscles. And so I got pulled. And after the game, I would walk out of the dugout. She'd walk out of the dugout, and under the stands, there stands my dad. And he calls me over there and proceeds to tell me that I can't remember the exact words, but disappointed in me he was. It's not the fact he didn't do well. It's your lack of effort. You quit. On and on and on. And but he wrapped it up by saying that's just my dad's a heck of an athlete. That's not how we play. He said if you can't do any better than that, you can take the name off the back of your jersey and turn it in. We play from nose to toes. You practice from nose to toes. You play from nose to toes. You never quit, no matter what the score is. Keep on going. And he was a lot more passionate than I'm being right now. And he was about that far away from me when he said it. And there were people everywhere. It wasn't like I was off in the corner. And he said what he had to say and turned around and walked off. And that's where the saying came from. And then years later, when I was kind of going through this tough time I went through, it's like, so basically I was trying to find something in life that would replicate the passion and the drive I had for sports. I didn't miss workouts. I mean, I cooked all my food on the road. I mean, I did everything I could to give myself a chance to succeed at a high level. And I did every level but the big leagues. And so I kind of broke that saying back out that, okay, that's how you're trying to live life from nose to toe. So, that just became a tagline for me. So, whatever it is you're doing.
You have to read his stuff, Amanda, because it's really good. Everything he writes is always nose to toe.
I need to write write about the tag. I got a few taglines, but just write where that came from and kind of explain it to people.
Yeah.
I can do a better job than just having to speak about it. But it's really caught on. I mean, it caught on. People just picked it up, and I reserved the website from nosetotose.com years ago. And my wife, my birthday, which was a couple weeks back, she does graphic design and she can do marketing stuff, but she actually started putting together a web page with some merch on it and put it on t-shirts and whatever else. So that's kind of fun. That's coming up.
I think it's great. I need a shirt.
That goes somewhere.
We need a shirt.
I'll hook you up.
Yeah, we need it. We need it. So I have a question, Shane, because you are such, like, I don't even think that you realize how motivating you are. I mean, and someone that I come from that background, I'm always having to motivate people. It is nice to see your stuff. I love it because
I appreciate that. Thank you.
It really inspires me. And I don't think that you realize, like, I'll hear you say, oh, I'm just a realtor, or I'm just this, but you're so much more than that. Like, you really are. Like, you're like the whole package. Like, you've been there, you've lived it, you've done it all. Like, to all of our viewers, and I know that, like, you're kind of on and off again, like with the drinking. Give us like 2 tips if someone wants to try walking away for 30 days and just improve their life and stop drinking. Because everybody always thinks it's so hard, like, because it's such a habit and it's so ingrained in us. What's 2 tips that you would give not drinking?
One is I would say really ask yourself why you're drinking. I mean, when I was younger, and I'm not anti-alcohol at all. I mean, I'm not anti-alcohol, but I'm not anti-Pop-Tarts either. But both of them, they're going to do what they're going to do to you when you put them in your mouth. You want more of them once you have them. But I would ask yourself seriously, and it's not maybe something you can answer in one sit down, but I'm constantly self-evaluating, asking myself, okay, why did you respond like that? Why did you do that? Why do you doubt yourself here? Just to look for patterns and whatnot. But why are you drinking? And for me, it went from being something I would do to add a level of enjoyment to an event, like we go to a football game or something. Okay, let's have a couple of beers, let's have a drink. It's everybody's doing it, which is not a reason to do it, but it just kind of adds to your experience. But on the whole other side of the coin, if you can't wait to get home from work so you can sit down and have a drink, that's a problem. Okay, so why is your day so bad? Why does your day suck so hard that you just want to go home and drink? Which is really kind of where I got to. I would look forward to the day I get home and turn my grill on, got their little grilling area, and have a cocktail. I'll be fine. Which I still love going out there to grill. And that was a big trigger for me when I decided I was not going to. Okay, I'm just turning the tap off. I mean, a couple of beers would turn into 5 or 6, which I could amortize pretty easily. But it was the desire to get home and have a drink. So it really became more medication for me than anything else. So I really started evaluating, okay, what part of your life is making you want to drink? There's some things you can do stuff about, some things you can't. There's some things you can just quit doing. If the clutter in your house driving you crazy, then take a weekend and get rid of some of it. If you're behind on your bills or your pipeline's not good, or you can't just print money to go pay bills that might be weighing down that might make you want to drink. So there's things you can change quickly, things you can't. But ask yourself why do you want to drink? What can you change about your life to make you not want to? That was something that I really noticed was it was just becoming more of a medication coping mechanism than it was, hey, let's add a little bit more enjoyment to our get together with my friends. I'm just going home and sitting down and having a drink by myself.
Yeah.
And that was something I just knew wasn't cool.
I think a lot of people do that, especially with like all the stresses in life, and it's a numbing factor. I mean,
Yeah.
I was,
Immediate gratification.
yeah, I was the same way. Oh, it's 5 o'clock. Let's sit
I'm
down and
like, that's
have
great.
wine. And yeah,
Well, I'll tell you something else, Eddie, that really for me that got me here was I already mentioned I'm 55, 56 years old, but I noticed a couple, 3 years ago that, I wasn't as sharp as I used to be in some areas. Things that used to be easy for me, I was having difficulty getting them done. I mean, things that should be just going through your daily task list. I would catch myself going, okay, why is this so hard to do? This used to be a no-brainer. Why am I struggling to get this done? So if I had to be honest with myself, okay, if you're drinking, then you're not helping your mental capacities. And I wasn't drinking enough to, I wasn't killing my brain. But on the same note, okay, two Pop Tarts a day is not a big deal either, but two Pop Tarts a day is 800 something Pop Tarts or 720, 30 a year.
that's right.
That adds up.
Yeah.
That's just one item. That's just Pop Tarts. What about the sweetener you put in your coffee? If you have three a day, there's 1,000 sweeteners a year. So you can cut things out, but I did it equally as much for I need myself physically and mentally to function at a high level for myself, for the people around me. And if I'm putting stuff in my body that's taken away from that, then I should do something about it. And that's just me. So that's also a large part is I need to be sharp.
That was how I was too. I just needed to be better. I needed to be my better self. That's
Yeah.
exactly right, and it's a personal choice. But I get like yesterday, somebody was asking me, they were like, again, it's such a habit. You get home from work and you're like, I want my glass of wine or I want my cocktail. And everybody thinks that it relaxes you. And it does initially, but then it keeps you up at night and the anxiety levels go up and it's feeding that insulin resistance. But I think it's all about creating new habits, right? Like, take up, whether it's reading or, start drinking hot beverages. I know tea was a big thing for me. I drink a lot of Ticino tea. I don't know if you've seen my post about it, but I love it. And it's just it has inulin in it, so it gives me a little bit of a pep. But I like drink it before bed, and it helps me sleep, and it relaxes me. And I think it's really important that you got to replace that because I used to love going in the kitchen, cooking, and having a glass of wine, and that was a trigger for me too, Shane. When I've stopped, like
It's
you going to the
enjoyable.
grill, yeah, it was just a habit. But now I actually remember what I put in my recipes.
I cooked that last night.
What all
Yeah.
was that?
Yeah, but it's it goes all back to what you also said earlier. It's so ingrained in our culture these days. I mean, more so than it was, at least that I remember from 10 years ago. I don't recall seeing alcohol is I won't say the word accepted, but just it's in everything, every magazine, commercial,
Yeah.
song. I mean, it's so accepted that that's just what people do. And I think we're beginning to see a shift from people going, okay, it's not, you still do it, but I don't know, it's almost like it's been over marketed to us.
So I want to read you guys something, and I posted this last week about cancer types. And I do think that you're going to see a lot, especially this year, because there is a lot more focus on the foods that we're eating and things that we're consuming. But I want to give you guys these stats. So just having 1 to 2 drinks a night, okay, 1 to 2 drinks a night. And they usually say, make sure that you're drinking less than 4 to 5 drinks a week. But I know a lot of people that drink 1 to 2 drinks a night, and I was one of them. But head and neck cancers, it increases 40 to 60%. Esophageal cancer, 30 to 50%. Colorectal cancers are 20 to 30, and I'm seeing a lot of colorectal cancers in my practice. Liver cancer, 60 to 80%, and breast cancer is like through the roof because as women, we don't metabolize it the same. And it's causing a lot of issues with our breast. So if you are a female and you are drinking, you need to reevaluate exactly what Shane was talking about. Why are you drinking? Why are you putting this carcinogen in your body and causing yourself possibly an issue down the road? Because it's going to end up happening.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you something else, and you just add to what you're saying there is, and I tell people this occasionally when I have a chance to speak to people. It's like, look, we're just in conversation. When you've been around as long as I have, which is not forever, but it's more than a minute. I've had a chance to watch people over decades. I've got family members, I've got friends, I've got just people I know that I've watched you evolve over the last 15 years that social media came along. But I've seen people take excellent care of themselves, and yeah, sure, you're still going to age, but you age so much more gracefully than people that just have no regard to what they put in their mouth, what they do with their self. They, no exercise, no, you can go to one extreme where you do nothing. You just eat what's in front of you indiscriminately. You don't exercise. Then you can take the other extreme, which is kind of where you and I are, where okay, we're really picky about what we put in our mouth, which also goes the same for what you put in your mind. And just I've watched people that had really good, and everybody wants to talk about genetics. Well, most people have good genetics. What you have is bad habits. People blame genetics all the time. Well, I got bad genetics. No, you got bad habits. Okay. You could go look at pictures from back 30 years ago when we were younger. Most people had pretty good genetics apparently back then. Genetics didn't change in 30 years. Habits changed. But just watching people and the effects of their lifestyle on their body, which impacts their entire being, um, that is a huge source for me to get me where I'm at. Because I mean, I don't need to go look at, read and research people. I got plenty of examples in my life, just the people I know, and the people that have been consistent heavy drinkers. They look kind of tired at 50 something years old,
No, I see it all the time too. My
yeah,
favorite quote, one of my most favorite quotes is genetics load the gun and lifestyle pulls the trigger because it's so true. I mean, it is literally how we are living because again, genetics haven't changed that much. And
yeah,
you see all these evolving chronic illnesses and all these emerging cancers. And it's, maybe social media does help, put a spotlight on it. But literally our foods are killing us and what we're putting in our body and how we're living our life. I can tell you this is another big thing, and I know we do have to cut it a little bit short today, but and Amanda, I don't know how you are with this. I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but I live with two horses, okay? Not Jason, but my two canine show horses, okay? And during COVID, they started sleeping. Well, Vita started sleeping with us, and I didn't realize how much it impacted my sleep. And over the Christmas holidays, we got them out of the bed and they were sleeping on their own, like big boys and girls, and sleeping on the floor in the camper, and it was awesome. So Jason and I mean, like we were getting like 7, 8 hours of sleep, which was like, I mean, I was usually sleeping. I preach it all the time, make sure you're getting sleep, but I was like getting like 4 to 5 hours. And I have watched over the past month, I have gotten no less than 7 hours a night. My life is like 100 times better as far as like energy, clarity. I really can tell a huge difference. Where are you guys at with sleep? Amanda, are you
So
sleep?
yes, I actually, since I got off a certain medication that I was taking for initially for joint pain and then evolved into an antidepressant. Since I got off that medication, I am sleeping so good. So I am alcohol though. I did go to Mexico over the holidays. I drank beer and tequila. What do you do in Mexico? Um, I did not sleep good. So I notice
Oh,
when I drink, I do not sleep well at all.
yeah, you can tell. What about you, Shane? Do you have like a certain goal of hours a night that you're sleeping?
no, I mean, I do best when I can get 8, but that's just wishful thinking these days. I mean, if I've typically got my neck, my back, one of those two, wake me up at some point during the night. Probably gonna have to get up and pee at some point too. Just, that's typical guy thing.
It's
When
a
you get
girl thing too.
Yeah, but I try not to drink much in the afternoon to kind of stave that off. But yeah, my thing is if I can get 6 hours of uninterrupted sleep, I consider that a good night's sleep. Yeah, I
That's
need it.
it.
I do much better with 8, but if I
That
can
is
sleep
my
straight
that's
for
my
6,
watermark now, 6 hours.
I'm
Anything
good. And everything else is a bonus after that. But I was back. I track stuff a lot. I'll track. I got a spreadsheet of things I'm tracking. I'm tracking nothing right now. Back when I was doing 75 hard, I had the whole page that I build my own templates, and I was tracking everything from weighing every morning, weighing every evening, what time I went to bed, how long I was awake before I got up, when I got up, so I could look at my sleep over a 24-hour period. And even if it required getting a nap, when I could get closer to 8, I functioned entirely better. But I mean, like this morning, I've been up since about 3:45 this morning. Woke up at 3:45, like I'm not going back to sleep. So I've been up ever since. But December is kind of a stressful time for me. I mean, it's in real estate, the market goes down. There's not as much activity. You got Christmas, homeowners insurance renews, car insurance renews, things break. Those things kind of keep me up at night. So it's kind of just the cycles of my life. But barring anything on my mind, if I can get 6 hours straight, I'm just that's good enough. I mean, ideally I need 8, but I tell you, when mentioned, since we're talking about drinking here, back when I was wearing one of those health watches for a while. I just put on when I slept, and my heart rate would go down to mid 50s at night when I slept in my downstairs room. It gets pretty cold in the wintertime. So when it gets colder, your heart rate slows down, and it was run about 62, 63, but it would dip down to 54, 55 for a little bit before it would just steadily go down through the night. I could have one bourbon, which is probably equivalent to about 2, and it would be 10 beats higher per minute the entire night.
Yeah.
And I might sleep okay, but it still would be that's solid 10 beats higher.
That's right.
And if I had 2, I'm guaranteed to wake up like you're saying, and have a fitful night's sleep. But even just that one that would crank your heartbeat up and mess your sleep up. Well, one being 2.
I would say that like my one tip walking away from today is because I wear the Fitbit and I love it. And I switched from the Apple, sold my Apple, and I got the Fitbit because you can go like 5 days without having to charge it. But that is one thing that I really started tracking last year was my sleep. Because I wanted to see how bad my sleep was, right? And it lets you know like how many times you move or flip or turn or anything, and your REM and your deep sleep, and I love it. And I would say, if anything, I think it was like $100 for the Fitbit, but that's like the best investment for the year, like because you can really see how bad your habits are, and that is one thing that I really noticed was like how many beats per minute and how much lower it was, and then also when I'm fasting, I literally go 20 beats slower when I'm fasting than
Really?
my normal.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really it's a great.
It's your body trying to preserve energy.
That's it. But think about it. You cannot control what you're not measuring, right? That's what I always say. You cannot control. So even if you just have it for a hot minute and you get kind of just a baseline of where you're at and you know how well you can improve from that, I think it's so worth it. So worth it. You have a Fitbit or Apple Watch, Amanda?
I do, and I also have a sleep number bed that it gives me
It-
that on my phone. Yeah.
yeah.
I
Anybody
don't
know
have
about
either
the
one of those.
Aura rings? Has anybody tried the Aura rings?
No.
I keep
They look
hearing,
cool.
I know, I keep hearing about it.
You could wear one of those and wear your Fitbit, say they measure up to each other.
You could do that.
Like weighing on 2
Go to
scales.
bed. I'll go to bed with all the stuff on.
Yeah.
Just
So
imagine.
I know we have to wrap up, but Shane, do you follow the Don't Die guy, Brian Johnson?
He's awesome.
No.
Okay. So you have to look into him, and then maybe we'll have you back on, and I want to get your take on him. But yeah, it's a whole nother podcast, but talk about measuring.
Yeah.
He
He
has
does everything.
created the
And,
blueprint
and
for
he looks like
everything.
he's like 25.
Yeah.
And he's like, what, mid
Yeah.
50s, I would say?
Text me his number or text me his info so I can look him up. But
I will. I'll put it on the show notes actually too.
I'll measure all kind of crazy stuff. I mean, I don't say get a kick out of it, but to your point you're making, if you don't measure something, you have no idea.
You have no
Right.
idea.
When I was doing 75 hard a year ago, one of my 75 hard items was 200 grams of protein a day and a gallon of water a day. Well, I had no idea how much water I wasn't drinking until I decided to drink a gallon because I was probably dehydrated half the time. But on the same note, getting my 200 grams of protein in per day, I mean, I thought I was getting 200. I was getting like 120, 130. But when I started tracking it, okay, it was pretty easy to get it in. But you just well, you think you're doing X, Y, and Z, you're doing A, B, and C. Just you're
It's
until
the
you try,
same way
you
with
don't know.
everything. Measure out your alcohol because what you think that you're getting in, you're probably getting in double. Just like I used to be like, oh, I'm having one glass of wine, but it was like three glasses of wine in one. So measure it out, like measure everything. Like, I mean, look at your food, look at everything because if you're not measuring and you're tracking it, it's not a forever thing, but it'll give you a good baseline to get started to make
Plus,
it.
once you learn the measurements on it, you got a good you got a pretty good idea. I mean, it's like,
That's right.
okay, I need to eat this, this, this. And I can kind of do I can do a mental check in my head how much protein I've had in a day because I eat the same stuff over and over.
Yep.
You can buy a food scale, $15.
Easy, easy. Hey, Shane, tell our viewers, I know that you have a separate page for all your writing. How can they get in touch with you? And I'll make sure that I put it in the show notes as well.
Just it's my main page is Shane Hale, and it's got a picture of me with my jersey on, Hale the back of it. But the writing page is really just a faith-based writing page. So everything I post that's a faith-based. I write stories, I do devotionals. They're going to be on the Shane Hale Writer page, but everything, including that, will be on my personal page. That's the diet, the
Sure,
writing, the humor. It's just plain old Shane Hale.
yeah, I'll
Just a
put it, I'll
guy
make
with a
sure I
gray
put it in
beard.
the show notes. I love watching your stuff. Shane, it's always a pleasure to have you on. And I know you and Amanda just met for the first time, but it won't be our first time with Shane. We will definitely have him back on.
I'm available anytime. Just give me a little bit of a heads up and we're good to go.
Sounds great. Amanda, you got any last minute tips for kicking off the new year?
No, just so nice to meet you, Shane. Glad to have you on, and I look forward to our next time.
Me as well. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Y'all have a good rest of the day.
Hey, bye guys. Thank you.
Bye.